They need to know that anybody who would expect folk to show up on Monday, Thursday.
I know. I'm a terrible person.
And so I thought, I'm going to dress down. I'm wearing a Tampa Bay Rays sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Pulling for the underdog.
Well,
That's the way you always dress, Dr. Laws.
I didn't know Stone was going to be.
Yeah,
there's Stone was going to be on here.
Dr. Stone. This is, got the band back together here. All the old timers. All right.
Stone, a couple of us worked today.
I showed up. I won't go as far as to say I worked, but I was there.
Yeah.
0. Yeah.
And so per my usual, I just loafed around and ate lunch. That was pretty much it for me. And so that's a pretty good day.
Yeah, as long as you got your lunch in, that was important.
Well, ironically, quite seriously, they would not feed me today. I can't make this up. We went to Hamrick's today. We had a little meeting at lunchtime at Hamrick's today, and they were slammed. And they said, come back in 30 minutes. And so I sat down and talked to our guests, and went back, and they said, nope, still not ready. And finally, I just got me 2 Nutri-Grain bars and ate them. And I did not get any lunch today. So they said that they were.
No wonder you were ordering when I came by.
I know, I was mad. But that's the way it goes. I mean, I guess they figured. I think they were taking orders from people by the pound, so they wasn't gonna get me because I needed anything. So
yeah,
but it went well. That was all right. I got to see a couple people hadn't seen in a while, so that was good.
It's always good to see old friends.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And so that part went well. All right. I've got 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started because I got my recording on. So let me.
I don't know why my screen won't show. I got the camera on.
I don't know, Willie. We'll have to get started here. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. It says participants can now see my screen. So welcome to the MSA Legacy Candidate Town Hall, the final one for the spring. And so tonight we're going to kick off quickly with doctoral recruitment. I see Dr. Laws. I didn't see Dr. Hamilton. I know Dr. Putnam can't be here. They've got class tonight. So I'll let Dr. Laws get started. Dr. Laws is longtime Gardner-Webb professor, retired superintendent in North Carolina, and he runs Gardner-Webb's doctoral program in ed leadership that leads to licensure in superintendency. But it's not just for people who want to be superintendents. And he's gonna share that with you tonight. So Dr. Laws is here. He will be forming new cohorts in the fall. We would love to have as many of you as you can, and he'll talk to you about the program and the residency component.
Okay, hey everybody, and thanks for giving me a few minutes, and I won't take long. What I want to share with you tonight is the EDLS program. We have a number of people. Dr. Lamb partnered with the doctoral program. What has it been? 3 years? 4 years? 4 years.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. And so it's helped us.
Okay, and then Steve, go ahead and unmute. I'm sorry.
All right, now he has helped us expose our program to MELS students, and I am forever grateful for that. Dr. Stone teaches kind of dually. He does MELS, and many of you have been blessed by him, and he also does EDLS. And so it's been a terrific partnership. I want to begin with saying I am in no way recruiting against the other doctoral programs. So they are fantastic. And if you are interested in them, I hope you'll contact either Dr. Putnam or Dr. Hamilton. But all I can speak to is the EDLS program. We have the handbook and Dale has it up, and I'm not going to really go by that, but I've asked Dale to send that to you following this, and if you will have a chance to kind of peruse it, and if you have questions, then to contact me, or you can ask Dr. Stone or Dr. Lamb. They both know very much about our program, and actually the handbook itself was co-written by Dr. Stone and me, and so he certainly can answer anything that you would have a question about as well. So in a nutshell, with our EDLS program, we are a cohort model, low residency, meaning we meet 3 weekends face-to-face, and usually about 7 nights that we do Zooms. And the Zooms typically are 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock or somewhere around there. The weekends are, of the 3 weekends, we meet 9 o'clock to usually close to 4 o'clock on Saturday. Sunday, we come and get started at 9, and usually are through by 1:30. We do not stop for lunch. We ask everybody to bring something to snack on, and we get out of there 1:30, 2 o'clock at the very latest, I think. And so you can get home to enjoy a little bit of your weekend for those 3 weekends that we meet. The coursework is centered around the 6 aspiring superintendents, so there's 7 aspiring superintendent standards. We do them in 6 semesters, and so we try to balance it pretty well. We start with strategic leadership, and then we get into curricular leadership, human resource leadership. Our 4th class is the research class. 5th class is politics and ethics, and the 6th class is managerial leadership, which is facilities and finance. We do end with you earning a superintendent's license at the doctoral level. However, very few of our students want to be a superintendent, but it is a leadership program. We use the standards, but they are leadership standards. So that's how we approach our course of study. The big thing that I want to mention is that the coursework would be no different than a master's level coursework if that's what all we did, but we do more because you have to write a dissertation, and the dissertation is how you earn the doctor in front of your name. And we began about 4 years ago altering the program where we align you with a dissertation coach from the very beginning of your program. So you essentially are concurrently working on your coursework and your dissertation. The dissertation seminar is a 1-hour seminar, and the coach is working with you, and we begin embedding the ideas for writing a dissertation. The dissertation typically is 125 to 150 pages, and which sounds monumental, but if you bite it off in pieces and work on it over your 6 semesters with us, typically, I can't give you a percentage, but I would say now with this program, we probably have 60 to 70% of our students that are ready with their first 3 chapters, which is the proposal of the dissertation, by the end of coursework. And we feel very good about that. We have a great number of our students now to finish in less than 3 years. And that makes us very proud. So that's the components of the program. I want to mention one other thing. If you enjoy, and many of you did have Dr. Stone, and I'm going to be somewhat serious, but not totally with him. And that is that if you enjoyed having him in an MELS class, in all likelihood, you will have him in the EDLS program as well. He begins, we are blessed to have him do some of our first courses, the strategic leadership course. And so you're likely to have him again. If you don't like him, then just tell me and I'll put you in another cohort. And I will be glad to tell him that you don't like him. I'm really being facetious. He is tremendously popular, as you all know. So, but our other professors are adjuncts, and they are all in a central office role, either as a superintendent or an associate superintendent or a level such as that. And all of those folk have been in your world and are currently in your world. We do have one that is a community college executive vice president or something. He's the number 2 person at a community college. And we have one that is the program director of North Carolina Center for Advancement of Teaching. But the rest are central office people. And those people, those 2 that I mentioned before, certainly came through the K-12 world as well. So we have people that are current, they understand your world, they understand the challenges you face on a daily basis. We work very hard to accommodate the needs of our students. And the last thing I want to say, because you're tired of listening to me, is that our cohort model, every once in a while we'll get folks to say, why don't y'all do an online program? And the thing that makes Gardner-Webb special is the cohort model. We put people together, you become a family. It's amazing how you bond, and you will be glad that you are in a weekend cohort model. And it's 3 weekends a semester. That's how we do it. And when we do the summative evaluations of our program, on and on, the people comment, I'm so glad I did a cohort model. And you will be too. So with that, I'm gonna stop for questions, but if after reading you have questions and you want to talk with me, Dale will be sending you the handbook is with my email address and my cell number. If you want to call and talk, I would ask that you text me and tell me who you are, because just like you, when I see numbers that I don't recognize, I don't answer the phone. So if you would just text me, I will call you back and we'll have a wonderful time talking. And I really, really hope you'll consider it. I know that Dale is just extremely high of this group of completers with MELS. In fact, I've never, honestly, he and I have worked together now for 11 years, Dale? And I've honestly never heard him so effusive in his compliments. And I'm not just blowing. It's amazing. He said, Steve, this is something. And so I hope some of you will do it. And I know it's a challenge to try to figure out how you're going to make ends meet with things, time and money, which also brings to mind how much is this going to cost. And I think it'll be close to $38,000. I'm not going to hide from that fact. It's expensive. It's an investment. And I really am going to close with this statement. I will simply say that Steve Stone, Dale Lamb, Steve Laws would not be blessed with what we do right now if we had not chosen to get our doctorate. None of us went into the doctoral program thinking, hey, I want to be a superintendent. My faith is that the Lord has a pathway for us, and my life's worked out very, very well, and I'm thankful for that. So with that, Dale, I really will shut up.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Now, if you will for a moment imagine me half the size but twice as smart, I'm now Jennifer Putnam. Dr. Putnam is Dr. Laws's other half in terms of the licensure doctoral programs. We have one, as I said, Dr. Laws is in ed leadership, which leads to superintendency licensure. Dr. Putnam is the program coordinator for curriculum instruction, EDCI, the doctoral program and curriculum, which leads to licensure as a curriculum and instruction specialist at the doctoral level. Her program mirrors Dr. Laws's program in that it's 3 weekend low residency, 6 or 7 classes of Zoom classes during the week, during the semester that also last a couple of hours. They also do the residency model and the cohort model. You will have between 10 and 15 students that you will bond with that will become your support group. Now, one of the things that Steve didn't mention is where is these wonderful cohorts located? Sometimes main campus, always at the Charlotte campus down at 77 in Airwood, sometimes in Thomasville, sometimes in Goldsboro. So they're located throughout the state for convenience so that you can drive in and drive home on the weekends. If you want to work in curriculum at the central office level, you will need to get involved in an EDCI program somewhere, but and the cost is the same as the EDLS program. Now, another thing that Dr. Laws didn't mention is if you said to us, I'm not sure I want to write a dissertation. Both of these programs can terminate at the end of the coursework and get an EDS, an Ed Specialist degree. We would prefer that you stayed in and wrote that dissertation, but you may terminate at the end of coursework in 2 years and have your EDS. Many of you aspire to that and maybe don't want to write a doctorate, don't want to write the dissertation. I think you'll change your mind once you're in the program, but we always have students who start out by saying, I don't want to write that dissertation. I want to be done, but I want that licensure. We have that path. Both of those programs offer the option to terminate at the end of coursework and take the EDS. And that there's no shame in that. That's part of the program. It's built in. So if you're interested in traditional school administration that heads toward that end, principal, assistant superintendent, associate superintendent, or if you're interested in curriculum, assistant superintendent for curriculum, and of course that doesn't mean you can't be superintendent, but if you're bent in that direction, those are the 2 licensure programs that we have. And so I have their information on tonight's agenda to start with. Let me share my screen. And you can see it right here. I've already sent you folks this stuff. I've always sent you his handbook. I will resend it tonight with the video as well. Let me get this thing to work here. There we go. So Dr. Steve Laws, he's Laws at Gardner-Webb, Dr. Jennifer Putnam, Jay Putnam too. And then the third of our doctoral programs at Gardner-Webb, which is our higher ed, community college, entrepreneurship, small college, nonprofit, is the organizational leadership. Dr. Jeff Hamilton is the program coordinator for that. That is a 3-year program. It is also a cohort model. You do a dissertation in practice, which is much like the regular dissertation. It's just action research out with an organization that has a problem. It does not lead to licensure, as a public school licensure, but it does lead to working at a community college or a small college. Many nonprofits, city, county government, we have a lot who become entrepreneurs. It's more organizational, business oriented, and it's not based in public school. It is a leadership program that is not based in public school. It's based in, as I said, small college, community college, organizations, nonprofit organizations, city, county government. It's that bent. So if you're interested in that, there's Dr. Hamilton. They meet for they have 3 years of classes. They do their DIP at the same time. They're generally done at the end of the 3rd year. They defend and get done at the end of the 3rd year in that program. It meets low residency again and meets some during the week. But those are the 3 doctoral options. As Dr. Laws said, I don't know that we all plan to be where we are today, but we had the opportunity because somebody or somewhere along the line, we were convinced to finish our terminal degrees. I can't promise you that you will become superintendent. If you do, I can promise you you won't if you don't get your doctorate, and you won't realize those dreams maybe, and you will, you will limit your future and your future earnings. Please remember that we're old, we'll be retiring soon, but there's a lot of people retiring. Jobs are out there, folks. I've never seen a time that was better for advancement and career advancement faster than right now. And that's what a lot of this night is about, is career advancement. That's why we're going to talk about interviewing tonight, so that you can do that. So that's our pitch on recruiting for the night. Please get in touch if you with me or any of these. If you want to talk to me about what I think where you ought to go, I've tried to get to know as many of you as I can. I am high on the group graduating both this spring and this summer. I'm very high on the group that would be finishing in the fall as well. We've got some of the best people we've ever had. We've got stars, and this is your opportunity to fulfill, to self-actualize, fulfill your potential, and we offer that now. There's other places as well, and we'll talk to you about that. We're up, we have something to sell that has value. Other places have something to sell that's a different kind of value in terms of it's more monetary value. The value that we have, we're not a bargain. We didn't claim to be, but you will get support just like you got in the MELS program, where you had a coach and you had all these people, and we had everybody that worked with you had, was either in the job or in the role or had been in the role. Our value is in our people and the experience and the connection you'll make, and that we won't let you fall. We'll make sure you get through, but we can't, it's not cheap. Now, full disclosure, you can go to state college and pay half as much, or maybe 60% as much. It's probably a little more than half. But now you're going to be on your own. As Dr. Law said, they're going to point you a dissertation coach, just like we gave you a coach in every class that you had. They're going to give you a coach that's going to work with you on your dissertation to start with. You will not get that at the high price schools. That is, again, it's a lot of money, but we try to provide value for that. You will have all of us, us. I do methodology for all three of the disciplines and work with them. I chair committees. I'm on committees. You know who we are. Dr. Stone does the same thing. You know us. You know who we are. You know what you're going to get. If you don't like us, you shouldn't be on this video anyway. But if you like us, and you like the service that you get more. You get more even at the doctoral level. They do a great job with their students. Their completion rate is incredible, and so I can't speak highly enough. I've been working with them for quite a while. All right, we're going to change gears now and talk about graduation right quick. Dr. Laws, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for letting me be on. Good night.
All right. So as a reminder of what I went over early in the semester, I'm going to go through this very quickly. I've highlighted it so I won't have to spend a lot of time. If you got questions, please unmute yourself and ask. Remember, commencement this spring is Thursday night and Friday, May the 4th. They put information out. It's 7 o'clock on Thursday night. Our event for the College of Ed is at 10:30 on Friday morning, May 5th. I get questions all the time. Do I need to come to both? No, you can pick or choose either one. If you come to the Thursday night event, because you're not a doctoral student, you will process in, sit down, and you will process out. You will not get to go across the stage and have your name called and recognized. Only doctoral students at the Thursday night ceremony. At the Friday morning ceremony at 10:30, you will process in, instead of the stadium, you will process into the basketball arena indoors so that you can stay dry, because it will be raining, of course. And you will get to cross the stage, though. You will line up. You will go up, you will cross the stage. I'll be waiting on you, me and Dr. Bull. We will put your master's hood. Everybody gets a master's degree. Now, whether you were, the 3 semester or 5, everybody gets a master's degree now. And you will come across that stage and we'll put that hood on you, and you'll get to be there with your family, and we'll have pictures. I mean, it'll be tremendous. Now, the Thursday night event, is a lot of fun. They have fireworks and you'll have a speaker. But the Friday event, Friday morning for the College of Ed, that's where you get your recognition. So remember that when you're choosing which one to come to. Friday is when you get your day to shine and cross the stage and do all those things. We'd love to have you both of them, but that's again, but everybody gets a master's degree. Make sure you should have already applied for graduation. I sent the list in Monday on who's going to make it and who isn't. I sent that in on Monday. For those of you who are in 603 or 604 who are finishing this summer, 603 12th semester, I mean, in 12th month, and 604 20, y'all both finished this summer. Registration is open now. I noticed one of you just registered for graduation. After May 25th, they'll charge you a late fee of about $150, so make sure you register. Now, please remember, there is no ceremony in the summer. I can't say that enough times. There is no summer graduation ceremony. You will graduate, you will, and your degree will say July 28th. You will be invited to come back to the December indoor graduation. That's all in one day in order to get your time to celebrate. We do not do a celebration in August anymore like we used to. That was not our decision. That was made at much higher level. But you will graduate. You will have a diploma that says Master of Arts in School Administration, July 28, 2023. And then you will get invited back, and you'll get your chance to shine and cross the stage in December. So here's a reminder of all the things that you need to have if you're with Dr. Stone or Dr. Tobias. Here again are the drop dead dates. By Monday, April 24th, that's about 2.5 weeks. You need to have all 6 of your evidences in, and then by Monday, May the 1st, you need to have everything in your tax stream portfolio, including your competency folio, completed and uploaded by that time. And so that's so that you can complete on Thursday, May the 4th on graduation day. I've got the things for the 20-month people who are with Dr. Sanders. Please remember that you will not, your diploma will be to the 28th. The ceremony that you will attend again is in December. Same for the 603 people that are with me, Dr. Caton, Dr. Maraglia, Dr. Griffin Jordan, Dr. Sane. And then those of you, if any of Dr. Sanders' students are here, here are the things for them, remind them. All right, so that is the information that I need. I'm going to stop my share and catch my breath and see if anybody has any questions about graduation, has any questions about the ceremonies. Again, Thursday and Friday, that's a change, May 4th and 5th. Thursday is the university celebration at 7 p.m., fireworks afterwards. Friday morning at 10:30, you got to be here at 9:30 if you're participating. At 9:30, you're here. 10:30, we have our ceremony in the basketball arena where the basketball teams play, LYCC. That's Luke Shelton Convocation Center. You will be there on Friday morning. That's where you get to wear your regalia, and we put your hood on you in the whole deal. We'll hood you right there. All right, seeing no questions, I'll move right along. All right, so let me share my screen. We want to talk about, okay, I'm right on to actually a couple minutes early. I want to spend 30 minutes talking to you. I sent you all these materials. I will make sure that I send them again tonight when we get done. Close that and close that. All right, so it's interviewing season. Now, one of the reasons why your diploma, those of you who are finishing this May, it doesn't matter. But those of you who are in 604 or 603, 12-month, you'll be finishing this summer. Now, you notice I kept saying your diploma will say July 28th. If you finish before August 1st, then you can interview for jobs for this fall. So even though your program isn't complete, you can go ahead and interview. Now, if your district wants a letter in good standing, just send me an email and I'll send you one. But you should be able to go ahead, even if you're in 603, 12-month, or 604, and you're going to finish this summer, you can interview now. So it's interview season. You're out there for those jobs. Now, The most important thing about interviewing this spring is to be prepared and know what you're walking into. So let's talk about the 4 types of interviews that you're going to go through. So let me see right here. All right, so here they are. The first one is an applicant pool interview where they call everybody in. Now, they may do some version of Strength Finder where they're trying to figure out your personality traits. Now, please remember that that's just we cover that book in 605. That Strength Finder book, your dispositional behaviors, and I'll talk about those that you need to highlight. Let me do that right quick. So here are the kinds of things that they're looking for, and here are the things that you should, the 5 dispositional behaviors that you should highlight at that interview. Emotional intelligence, basically dispositional work ethic, how hard you'll work, positive attitude, your communication skills, time management, self-confidence. These, your ethical behavior. These are the kinds of things that your maturity, that's what you would focus on at that level in that particular pool interview where they call all the applicants in. Now, they may do the old style Gallup interviews. I am a Gallup interviewer, right? This is when they're trying to determine who's the best fit to be a principal. They have some landmine questions that they ask you, and so a couple of those would be, are you an on-time person? And your answer has to be yes. If you equivocate in any way, they won't hire you, because schools run on clocks and times. We have buses, arrive and leave at the same time every day. The bell rings, we go to classes. They're looking for on-time people. They'll ask you if there's a policy that you don't agree with, would you still implement it? Yes, because your job is to follow law and policy. They'll ask you if the money was the same, would you prefer to teach kids or work with adults? And the answer, of course, is work with adults. But they're just trying to figure out your dispositional behavior. And so they'll ask you these questions. The trick is to be certain of your answers, that you're positive. You like competition. Remember, schools are in competition. We keep scores for a reason. Those kinds of things. They might do an in-basket activity with you. Let me share that one right quick. It's a reasoning activity. They'll give you a series of emails and they'll tell you, what would you do with these and why. The trick on this one is they have you put them in quadrants and categorize them as urgent. That email is urgent. I need to handle it and it's important. So that means I got to do it now. Or it's not urgent, but it's still important. I can get to that by the end of the day or tomorrow. Urgent, but not important. And then not urgent and not important, basically spam, you just throw it away. Now, the trick on this one is quadrant 3. There's no such thing as urgent, but not important. That's a reasoning activity. So know that. And a couple of these questions will be like law questions and what should you do? And they'll ask you what you would do and why. They'll have you, say, this is what I would do with this email, and this is the reason why. And like one of them would be, an email from the media wanting to come in and film and take pictures in your building. And the action would be, you would refer them to your public information office. And the reason why is FERPA. You can't allow people to take pictures of kids. You can't allow media into your building without permission from your communications department. That would be a big no-no. So that's the kind of thing that would happen if they did a reasoning activity with you in the applicant pool where they call everybody in and they're kind of sorting through the chaff, the wheat from the chaff. All right. Virtual, a lot of districts, because of COVID, and even some before COVID, started doing virtual ones. The trick on that one is always face the screen, just like tonight. I'm not talking across here I'm talking at myself. That way it looks like I'm talking to you. Now, if I needed notes, if I felt uncomfortable, the trick is take you some little sticky notes and write them directionally and put them around the margin of your monitor so that the people on the other end can't see them. If you need to write yourself notes, like if they give you a task to do that they're going to ask questions on, and you want to make sure you remember everything. Take notes, use the sticky part around the corners of your screen, but always be looking at yourself and talking to yourself, because that way it looks like you're talking to them. And so here are the kinds of things. I've got that one, virtual. Here's the one that Charlotte Meck using most recently. They'll ask you about your past experiences. They'll ask you about immense pressure. They'll give you a date. They might even give you a data analysis project along with this. Again, they'll ask if there was a policy you didn't agree with, and of course your answer is yeah, I'd do it anyway because that's what you hired me to do. You know, they'll ask you basically these kinds of questions in that virtual interview, but the big thing is talk to the screen, don't read notes. All right, data analysis project. If they give you one of those, it's just the app cell. It's exactly what you did in the app cell. They'll give you some school-wide data like report card data, and you're to analyze it, find your most pressing need, and tell them what you do. So I've got that in here too. It is the app cell. That sometimes they have you do that now at the first level interview to kind of sort through you. All right, so that's another of the first level interviews. All right, the next one, let me get this out of the way. That one, yeah. All right. One of the things that they're doing now, and two districts, you know, in large urban areas, one in North Carolina and one in South Carolina, I've had people to interview there in the last week or so. And one of the things they're doing now to save time at the district level, they're doing these round robin interviews where they bring you in and you get like 5 interviews at one time, different people, but they're firing questions at you rapid fire. These are the kinds of questions that they're asking when they do that. Let's see, the round robin interviews right here. These are the ones that I actually had a student. This was from last week, by the way. So this is fresh off the press. PLCs and how you look at data. Again, they want to know if you know how PLCs work. The app cell, they want to know if you know how PLC work and how to analyze your data, find your most pressing need. Let's see. Decision made you regret. Talk about your role. They want to know if you know what MTSS and PBIS are. Those are the two catchphrases now. MTSS is obviously your intervention instructional program. PBIS is your classroom management. They want to know if you know what those are. They want to know about school safety. We go through all that. And then, you know, what if you found out a teacher was sending explicit messages while the principal's off campus? What would you do? Of course, we'd get the resource officer involved and call the central office, the HR department. What would you do if a teacher was not using required materials? Again, that's policy. We'd enforce that. Upset parent. These are things like that but they're rapid firing these, and you know the answers to these, but it's just to see how cool you are under pressure. And so those are the majority. Look at these materials. Those are the things that happen in that first round where they're trying to separate to see if you're a legitimate candidate or not. All right. So then if you make it through that round, you go to the next round, and sometimes it's the same day of a group interview. Now, the thing about the group interview, and let me pull that up, the group interview is to see if you can communicate with various stakeholders. They'll have like teachers, they might have a parent, they might have a student, they'll have people from the central office. They might have community members that are in on this group. And what they're looking to see is, can you communicate with them? So the thing to remember about these is don't use jargon. Don't use acronyms. Don't say something like, well, refer to MTSS and then say, oh, y'all don't know what that is. That's calling them stupid. So don't do that. So the notion here on this is, when you're asked these questions, can you relate them back in layman's terms so that everybody in the room can understand what you're saying? So, you know, they ask you question 1, describe what you perceive as your leadership style. Instead of saying, well, I'm a transformational servant leader, which they don't know what that means, you would describe what that means. respect, work hard, child focused, courteous, open, want to serve others, child centered, those kinds of things. If they ask you, instruction, assessment drives instruction, how would you begin to understand the use of data? Instead of saying PLCs and data dives, you would say data analysis, development of teaching strategies based on needs of students, willingness to plan collaborative. That instead of saying I just formed PLCs, you would say this. Again, the whole notion of the second level group interview, and I'll stop my share. The whole notion of this interview is to make sure that you can communicate with all stakeholders, and they'll have different stakeholders there with you at that time. All right. The third level interview is when you get your chance to shine. That's when you talk to principals in the field. Might be a principal that's got the opening, might be a panel of principals, and you'll get to talk about PBIS and MTSS, and you can use your acronyms, you can use your initials, you can do all those things, and you'll get comfortable, and it will be going so well. And then they're going to blindside you with one of those landmine questions. They're going to ask you about your strengths and weaknesses. Now, let me share my screen. So here are, let me go over here to this one, principal-led interviews. Tell us about your background, your experiences, why you want to, professional goals. They get you real comfortable, all those kinds of things. And then all of a sudden, your best leadership qualities, and they get you feeling really good. And then they're going to ask you, I've got it here somewhere, let's see at this moment, about your strengths and weaknesses. All right, so how do you beat that question? How do you come off without sounding bad in that one, or sabotaging your own chances on this job? Let's see. Teachers and staff, educators. But anyway, these are the kinds of questions they're going to ask. And so here is the answer to the question. When they ask you about strengths and weaknesses, make sure that you understand that your strengths are all dispositional. I'm honest, I'm forthright, I'm hardworking, I'm dedicated, I'm ethical, I'm on time, I'm planned, I'm prepared. Things that are you, that don't need work, that won't change over time. When you give your weaknesses, and don't try to give too many, they should all be based on inexperience. Things that you can fix that aren't wrong with you, that's just you haven't had that experience yet. So your strength should always be dispositional, things that aren't going to change. I'm honest, I'm ethical, I'm hardworking, I'm dedicated, I'm on time, I'm planned, I'm prepared. Those kinds of things that we talked about before. Your dispositional behaviors. Your weaknesses are always inexperience. While I have seen the Power School portal for disciplinary data and upload, for incident reporting, while I've seen it, I've never used it, but I'm going to get trained on that immediately. I know that I need to be trained to do teacher observations. I see Monica's here with us tonight from the Gaston group. They went through NESA's training last semester, so that as soon as they get their AP jobs, they're going to be able to step right in and help their school out doing formal observation, because they've already done their NESA's training for Gaston. And so if you haven't done that, that's a weakness. But if you know that that's my weakness, I'm going to go do that immediately, so that I won't be a drag on my administrative team that I'm joining. I know that I don't know some things yet, or haven't had experience, but I know what they are, and I'm going to fix them immediately. Those are your weaknesses, things that are based on inexperience, but that you can fix quickly. All right, so that's your principal level. Now, the final level interview, let me go back to this. The final level interview. And here's an applicant, a scenario interview as well, just like the other one that I showed you. It's very similar, where you have scenarios. But when you get to that superintendent interview, that final interview, they're going to want to talk about big picture ideas. They're not going to want to talk about bus duty and things like that. They're going to want to talk about what your vision for the future is, and how you're going to get to 21st century, and how, what's it going to take to really pull us out of the COVID nosedive, and, how we're going to focus on 21st century skills, those or maybe they'll talk about future ready students. They'll talk about big picture ideas. I would make sure if you haven't looked at it in a while, I'd make sure I reviewed the framework for 21st century learning, which is kind of the roadmap for all districts in North and South Carolina. And also I've got one, how to implement those skills, because they'll ask you, well, we're glad you know what those 21st century skills are, but how would you go about implementing them in your school? And right here is a step-by-step on how to implement 21st century. Now, the questions that you get asked may not be 21st, but it will be a big ticket item. Superintendents don't talk about third lunch shift or bus duty or something insignificant. They want to see where your head is in terms of the future in the organization and the future of the profession. They want to be able to project you in a principal role down the road. Nobody wants to hire people that are going to be lifetime APs. They want to be able to project you that you will grow in the organization. So they're going to talk to you about big ticket things. So those are the 4 types of interviews you're going to have. Again, let me review those with you one more time. Know what kind of interview you're walking into, so that you can prepare yourself fully from these materials. Applicant pool, strength finder, dispositional or Gallup. They're going to ask about your dispositional behaviors, your ethics, your responsibility, your hard work, those kinds of things. Reasoning activities, scenario activities like the in basket, and also the reasoning activity, the scenario activity. They're going to see if you can think clearly. Virtual, they're going to see if you can communicate, don't read your notes, if you can answer questions. Round robin, they're going to fire questions to see if you can handle pressure, but they're going to ask you more school-based questions. Now, in any of these, they can have you do a data dive. You more than likely, on the reasoning activity, the scenarios, the virtual, or the round robin, they're going to talk to you about datas, PLCs, most pressing needs, and action plans. Those, understand that that's going to be a part of those. Any of those virtual, in basket, reasoning, round robin, they're going to talk to you about data. Group interview is, can you communicate with various stakeholders? Can you talk with parents? Can you talk with community members? Can you talk with teachers? Do you talk over their head and can't communicate? Principal interview, they're going to want to know what you know. They want to know your stuff, all the stuff you learned in class. But again, don't get too comfortable, because if you do, they'll hit you with that strengths and weaknesses question. Remember, your strengths are always dispositional, things about your character. Your weaknesses are always inexperience based. That's how you beat that question. And then the superintendent's going to talk to you about big picture stuff like future ready, coming out of COVID, future of the business, virtual competition from outside, being competitive, marketing your school. How do you get parents and students to come to your school? Those kinds of things. That's what they're going to talk to you about. All right. Now, here are some general things that you need to know about interviewing. Okay, 10 things you should know about your job interviewer, and you can read these. But the first one is the most important, and that's why I have it here. They want to find the best person for the job. Understand that about your interviewer. So don't be, and the reason why I say that is, don't take it personally if they ask you hard questions. If they put you on the spot, if they rapid fire you like they did last Friday, or Friday before last now, like they did the folks Friday before last, where they rapid fired them and they felt like they'd been beat up when they got through with their interview. Well, don't take it personally. They're going to see if you got, they're trying to find the best person, and part of that is making sure that you're under fire. And so just understand that that's their job, is to find the best person. So don't take it personally if they get you in one of those round robin scenarios where they just beating you, feels like they're punching you, body blows. That's their job. It's not personal. All right. And so 5 questions you should never ask in a job interview. When they ask you if you have questions, if you have a legitimate question, then ask it. But don't ask things like, how long will I have to be an AP before I get promoted? Don't talk to them about salary. That's at the job offer stage. We don't talk about that up front. People who interview, they can't know what they're going to pay you. When will I get a raise? When will my salary bump up? Again, don't talk about those things. Don't start talking about time off and flex time and vacation before you even get the job. Too many people do that. And then any question that shows you hadn't been listening. So these are the 5 things not to ask. If they ask you if you have a question, don't ask any of these. Nothing about salary, promotion, that kind of stuff, because they can't tell you that because they don't know what your situation is. Don't ask for time off and vacation. All right. And wouldn't be bad to take a 2-page summary of your evidences of all the evidences that you've done. We've got the competency folio. Make sure you share that link. You can have one or the other or both if you feel like writing a summary of your evidences, because they want to know, well, what did you do during your program? Well, here are the things that I did for the app sale. Here's the things I did during the app sale. Here's pictures of me doing this, that, or the other. Here's the link. Share your competency folio with them. And so, be prepared. So that's what we're talking about here. The things that you should take to a job interview, 5 things you must bring. You need your resume, of course, a cover letter, your references, but also that's the 2 things that we're talking about, a strategic plan. You show how you went through the evidences to build a school improvement plan. That would be a strategic plan in your portfolio that has all of your artifacts of this is what I did during my clinical. These are the 2 right here that you can from writing a 2-page summary of your evidences and the link to your competency folio, you can achieve these 2, and you have to have these: a resume, a cover letter, and your references. So that's where you get these 2 from. All right. And then all right, we made it to the end here. Here's my top 10 for interview. And so these are things that you need to know. Let me see. That's let me pull it up right quick. All right, here we go. So hopefully you can see my screen. So here is Dale's top 10 for interviewing tips in general. First one is dress for success. You know, my famous old joke is you wear a wig, that's okay. Just wear your good wig. You know, whatever you got, wear the best of whatever you got. Look like you know, it's a respect and thing. And so make sure that you're dressed appropriately. Again, take a 2-page evidence summary if you can, and your link to your competency folio, because they're going to want to know your clinical is really the experience that you have. Most of you, some of you have been deans, some of you are serving as APs already, but most of you haven't, and they'll want to know, they'll want to see that you've done something. So that's good. Research both the school and the administration. Look up the report card, TWC. Y'all know how to look and see what a school is all about. Look up the background so that you can speak to them. Don't come in talking about, you know, don't be talking about gifted programs if they're a Title I school. I mean, that may be part of the conversation, but you need to understand who they got. Know what you don't know. EVOS, Power School, Power Source, which is, you know, the evaluation NESA system, state PBIs. Be able to speak about those things, even though you haven't done them yet. You know what they are. You've seen EVOS. You know what it means. You've seen teacher portal Power School, but you know that there are administrator portals that are much more involved and in depth. Know those things. Don't say, oh yeah, I've done Power School. Well, oh, I did the teacher portal. Well, you haven't done Power School, not from an administrative perspective. Know what you don't know, but know that you can catch up. That's that inexperienced thing. You can catch up. Have a humorous anecdote about how you were able to turn a negative into a positive. They always want to know about that. Be prepared to discuss hours and responsibilities honestly if they ask you. Now, the building won't get any closer to your house just because you get the job. Also, the traffic won't get any better either. And if you know that, and if you know that you've got like childcare responsibilities and that you got to leave at 4 o'clock every day, that's not going to work out real well, especially if maybe it's a late start school. I tell the story. I went and visited a school over in the eastern part of Mecklenburg County, and it wasn't even cold weather yet, and the new assistant principal was no longer there. And I asked the principal what happened. She said, well, she took the job, and as soon as she got hired, she came in and said she had to leave at 4 o'clock every day to pick up her kids. She said, you know, we're a late start. We don't even dismiss till 4:30, and she wanted to leave 30 minutes before dismissal every day. Now, she should have known that when she took that job, that was a late start school, because there was 2 schools on the same campus, shared facility. They have an elementary and a smart, one of the old federal smart starts on the same campus. And so they can't start the elementary till they get the smart start started every morning. So they run from 9:30 to 4:30 rather than 8:30 to 3:30. And she, you know, thought just because she had to, she could leave every day at 4 o'clock. No, you can't. We can't allow you to do that. And, you know, can I come in late? No, you can't come in late. Can I leave early? No, you can't do that either. Those kind of big, know those things. Be prepared to discuss hours, and you know, if you can't work nights or weekends or something, you need to tell people that. Know your strengths and weaknesses. You know, again, your strengths are always dispositional. I'm honest. I'm hardworking. I'm ethical. I'm fully formed adult. Your weaknesses are always inexperience. Don't try to discuss salary or experience steps or national board pay. None of that stuff. That's not the time to do that. When you get down to the offer stages, when you talk about that, don't engage in gossip or negative talk, because principals talk among themselves. And then finally, my biggest pet peeve, and it goes back to what we were talking about, discussing hours and responsibilities. Honestly, don't interview for a job that you know you wouldn't take just for the experience. I can't tell you how many times I have people who said to me, well, I said, do you really want to work over that kind of school or that far from your house or in that traffic? Well, no, but I want to interview to get the experience. Again, the people that are interviewing you are trying to find the best candidate. It's not their job to get you interviewing experience. And that makes them very angry when they interview somebody and put them through the process and knock other people out. And then when you go, oh, I didn't want to work there. I just wanted the experience of interview. Oh, if I ever found that out, I'd try my best to make sure you didn't get hired. Principals are there interviewing, and people are interviewing to find the best person for the job. If you know that places you don't like that kind of school, it's a Title I or it's a country club school, you don't like working there, or if it's too far from your house or the traffic's too bad, don't go. You never interview for the experience. And part of that reason too is personal, in that if you know that you're not interested in the job, sometimes you're just too flippant or too, you know, you don't come across as sincere in the interview, and that won't help you when you go to the place where you do want to work. So don't interview for the experience. If you go take somebody's time to interview, then you need to be willing to take the job if they offer it to you. And then you say, well, you know, and that means do your due diligence. That's why I said know where the school is, know what it's about, know their test scores, know the administrative team. If you don't think you can work with them, then don't go interview. If it's too far, if it's an hour and a half from your house, and you don't and you set a 30-minute restriction on a commute, then don't go. You know, if it's 30 minutes in the middle of the night, but it's 2 hours in the morning with traffic, don't go. And so that is really my pet peeve. And then the last thing, and this is not about interviewing, but this is just good common sense. This is a best practice kind of thing. Top 10 for the first faculty meet when you get that new AP job, and you got some days between when you started and when that first faculty meeting is. This is what you need to be doing. Know everybody's name, what they do. You can't memorize them from the last year's yearbook. Move around the room and have them introduce themselves to you. Proximity and eye contact is important. Get an early win for something, present something positive to staff. I'm talking about if it's just simple as, I got you a new pencil sharpener. You want to establish that you're a competent person right away. If you have a lot of early losses, I mean, it ruins you there. You know, even if something works out later down the road, it will, you know, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while. You know, you're an incompetent person. So have some early wins, stuff that's easy. Don't tackle the biggest issue they've had over the last 10 years. Give the staff a quick overview of who you are and your professional experience, and try to be humble if you can. Volunteer for something nobody else wants to do. Do as I do, lend a hand, and show that you're a servant leader. Present the opening the school plan or a part of it, and be conversant if the principal will let you, so that you're already part of us. You know, remember, you're only new to lunchtime the first day. After that, you're part of the problem or part of the solution. I'll act as if you're already, you know, part of the solution. You're part of the team. Smile and laugh at the appropriate times. You'd be amazed how hard that is, especially when you're with new people and you think they're joking, but they're really serious. Especially dumb people. You know, and so make sure that you're very careful about that early on. Ask questions and take notes so you can follow up. Carry that pad in your pocket you've all heard me talk about. Recognize something for somebody positive. You saw something great that they were doing or in their room. Be specific. Don't just say her room was pretty. What was pretty in her room? Don't complain or seem worried about being ready for the opening of schools. Kids will show up whether you're ready or not. School will open. You can't be henny penny. The sky's falling. And the last one, again, my pet peeve. Don't mention how busy you are, how hard you're working. That's the expectation for school administration. We signed up for this. All right. So that's a brief overview of interviewing. Know what rounds you're in. I'm available to talk to you if you got an interview coming up. Make sure you read your materials. There's links in your class shell to these materials. But if you'll walk in, you have a quality education. You've had a quality experience in your internship. If you will study these materials for about an hour and know what you're walking into, you'll kill it on your interview. You know how to do a data dive. You learned it in the app cell. You know all this stuff. It's simply putting it in place is all that really matters. All right, I see I have one thing in chat. What that means. And
So Dr. Lamb, for graduation, where's the best place to park? I've never been on campus.
All right, so they'll direct you, but you know, it's according to which way that you come into the campus. Well, where do you live, Maggie?
Right outside of Greensboro, North Carolina.
All right, so you'll be coming in from the east to the west. All right. If you get off in Shelby at the high school and come the back way, or if you go through Shelby and go to the new cutoff. Anyway, when you get to Boiling Springs, you'll come to a stoplight. That I am correct. There is only one stoplight in Boiling Springs. One. Uno. One stoplight. It's right in front of the president's office building right there. When you're at that stoplight, if you, from wherever direction you're coming, you will head directly south. If you're coming off the 74 bypass, you just drive straight through it. If you're coming from Shelby, you'll make a left at that light, but you're heading south toward Gaffney, South Carolina. You'll head that way. You want to stay on the road that goes in front of the college and not try to get into the college. And you'll keep going. When you see a McDonald's on the left, you'll see the campus on the right. It's not, but when you see a McDonald's on the left, turn your blinker on to the right, and there's an archway there, and that takes you out to the stadium complex and the basketball complex. And so you're looking for a big arch with a LCD sign on it in front of the McDonald's. Can't miss it. So make sure you're heading toward Gaffney, south toward Gaffney from the stoplight, the only one. Just look at your compass, head south, either drive through the light or make a left turn, which way you're coming in. And then once you see McDonald's on the left, you'll turn your blinker on and turn right, and you can't miss us. There's only one turn to make. That's it.
Okay,
And
thank you.
they'll direct you to park in that huge parking area that serves both the stadium and the convention center there, the LYCC.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not a big place. Can't get lost. Any other questions that we have tonight? Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'll post the video a little bit later. Again, if you're going into an interview, I'd be glad to talk to you, work with you in any way we can. Most important thing, coming out of this program is to get a job. That's why you got in, to get out. If you're interested in a doctoral program, contact one of those folks or give me a shout. It's good to see you all tonight. Hope you have a good Easter, and we'll see you after the break. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.